Okay, in this lesson we're going to talk about slash chords. Slash chords are really cool for guitar players. They're very easy to understand. It's not rocket science, but it can be a little bit confusing. You'll see chords with names like C/G or C/E, and a lot of people they'll look at that and they won't know what the heck it is. I mean, which chord am I playing? What is it? Well, basically all it is a moving bass note. And when we're playing the C chord, maybe the music's changing and there's a huge emphasis on E. We can play a C chord with an E in the root, or an F in the root, or a G. You notice how the bass line moves. So let's break this down for you. So for example, a C/E chord in figure 1 would be a C chord with the E as the bottom note. Now it's not necessarily the root, and it's kind of bad for me to say that, but the C is still the root of the chord, but we're shifting the bass to, which would be the lowest string, we're switching it to E. So it would look like, you can still play that C note there too, but the bottom note is that E, open E string. So that would be a C/E. The E's at the bottom. A regular C would be just C, root at the bottom. A C/E, we'd add that E at the bottom. Okay, a C/G could look something like this. See, I'm hitting that G string, or not the G string, but the G on the low E, and I'm not playing this A string, but I'm hitting the rest of the C chord right here. Or we could play it like it is in the second measure. We fret the C chord as usual. We could use our pinky or switch our fingers there and play that C/G like this. That was figure 2. Figure 3, here's another version of the C/E. We're just playing the top 4 strings. And it's just like a C chord, except the E is in our bottom played note. Alright, how about figure 4? Well, that's where we come into a problem. A, as we previously learned, is the relative minor of C, so when we drop down and try to play a C/A chord, we end up with a A minor chord. It's A minor 7 to be exact, but there's no way of getting around it. It's going to sound like a minor chord, especially in a key of C. Alright, figure 5, we have a C/F chord. I use my thumb. You change your fingerings up. It gets kind of weird. I like to use my thumb for something like this because I can and I don't have to change my fingering there, and it's just nice to have another finger to play around. You can but that was a C/F chord. All we're doing is adding the F at the bottom. C chord with an F. Alright, in figure 6 we have the C/B chord, which the B's right there, so this is kind of a weird sounding chord. It is the 7th scale step, so it's wants to lead right up to that C. C/B. That one you might not see much of, but you might want to try to include it in one of your own songs. Figure 7 is a C/D chord. We're just going to use our D string as our bottom note. But as you can see, it really lends a different vibe to a song if you employ these. You know, like I was showing you before. Great songwriting tool to use, and you know, a lot of songs that you go online and you print out a chord sheet. A lot of the songs will have these in them, and a lot of people will miss them. But for a lot of songs, and if you ever try to play a song that was written on the piano, you're going to have stuff like this all the time. Because you know, it gets boring just to strum a C. Why not add some if the song calls for it? It just adds a lot more flavor and depth. And that's all for today.